Hello again everyone, and welcome to another tutorial in my Great Art series. Before we start, of course, if you could subscribe, that would be very much appreciated. Thank you very much. And also, you can ring that little bell icon if you'd like to know what's coming up next. Okay, well, the Great Art I'm going to draw today is Van Gogh's bedroom in Arles. Now, he actually painted three versions of this. The first one in 1888, second one and the third one 1889. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rough it out with the pencil and then go straight in with the pen. But just to give you an idea of the actual room itself, there's a back wall, and I'm just going to indicate the back wall just now with a pencil. It comes across here like that. That kind of square shape there, and you have the lines of the other wall going off at an angle like that, okay? And I'll just indicate where the objects are. We have a window at the back here, we have a table here, we have a chair about there, and most of the room is taken up by this bed, with a great big end here coming in there, okay? And another chair over here, a towel hanging in the wall. So I'm just going to go straight into drawing the actual window that I mentioned, and that's a long kind of rectangular window, and Van Gogh used quite heavy brush strokes sometimes, you know, so I'm going to try and kind of replicate those with my pen line. Sometimes I'll make a nice smooth pen line, I'll be a bit like that. Other times, you know, I'll work on it a bit. Now this right hand window here is slightly open, so you get that kind of look there. I'm doing this fairly roughly because I'll be shading this in fairly dark when I'm going back over it again. And the other window is, as I can tell, it's closed. So if you come up like that, another side here, and this bit going up there, the spar going across, and here. As you can see, I'm doing fairly roughly at the moment. I can clean it up, tidy it up later, okay? To the left of that, there's a mirror on the wall. Again, I'm just indicating it with a pen here, which I'll tidy up later. And it's hanging from a string. Now, the paintings on the wall on this side are all hanging from nails, basically, so this is no exception. The nail sticking out like that. On this wall beside it here, I'll just draw another line down there to indicate the side of the wall there. There is a nail sticking out at this level here, and there's a, looks like a long towel hanging from it in folds, so that comes down like that. A long thin triangle, like that, you see? And there's a fold here, and then another fold coming down there, and one more about there. So you get that kind of look there, you see that? And just beside it, we have a door. So you have the edge of the door coming down there, and double edge there, and a little bit of the paneling of the door coming in at that angle there. Now just below that there is a chair, and what we see is the back of the chair. It's one of those chairs with a rush matting seat. So you get the one side of the chair coming up there. Now I'm doing those dots because there are spars going across there. There's one spar coming across like that with a curved top, another spar here, and another one there, and the back of the chair coming down here. Right, now the back of the chair curves, the back leg I should say, all the way down, slight curve shape like that, and the seating of the chair comes in, as I say, about there, comes across, and the legs at the front, you can see the tops of them appearing there like that. So you get this leg coming in like that, another one here, and there are a couple of spars going across here as well, on there, and then the actual front of the rush matting seat comes in here, and it continues going across there like that. And there's a kind of button in the middle, and you get the lines of the rush matting coming out, spreading out, a bit like a spider there, coming down at the front and there. And we have two spars, one going across here, like that, and another one coming across there, like that. And you see the back spar just appearing, one in here, another one going across to there, and the back leg coming down just about in here. There's the back of that leg there, another spar appearing just in there, like that. Okay, that's that there. And then I say that there's a table here, and on it there are some items. There's a water jug, which comes up, almost like a kind of vase with a neck like that. Again, this is drawn quite thickly by Van Gogh. And below that there is a glass. And there at the edge of the table here, which kind of juts over this line slightly, and it goes up at an angle like that. There's the edge of the table there, and the front of the table comes across at a slighter angle going up like that. Okay, and goes back. Now the other objects on the table, just at the front here, they're obviously for Van Gogh's toilet. So he has a soap dish here with a little bit of soap in it, like that. Just above that he has his wash basin, which has a broad base like that, goes up at a slight angle with a kind of lip coming out and going round like that. And inside the basin there is a jug, which comes up to a point like that, with a handle that goes up sharply, then curves, and then goes back in again. Okay, now this line here would go up to there and join this line here, but you can't see that because there are more items of Van Gogh's toilet. His hairbrushes, there's one there, like that. There's another one just there, coming in, and another one just behind it there. And you see the bristles coming down. Now at the front of the table here, it's quite broad at the front, so it goes in like that, and there's a drawer in it like that. And both legs, one comes down like that, and going up at an angle like that to the back leg here, which comes in about here. You get that angle going up, following that angle there, so you get that, and then the bottom part of the table there, and the inside of the leg there. The other one here comes from about there, comes down, following that line up there, and then your angle there, and the back leg, which comes in about here. Like that. And as I said, the bottom of the back wall appears just coming in like that. Now just here there's also there's another chair. So we'll draw, let's see, the back of the chair comes in about here. I think that's the... No, it goes in about there, that's right. And we have the top coming in about here, and the other side appearing there, and the spars going across. You've got 1, 2, like that, coming down to another rush matting seat there, at that, with the circular tops of the two front legs coming in like that. I'll just take these out later. Two front legs like that, and then you have the spars going across the front, and the rush matting coming up like that. Okay, and another spar coming there, and another one here, and you see them just appearing behind these spars there like that. Okay, now above that we have the end of the bed. Now the bed, post comes just to the right of this seat here, and the post goes up to about there, just above that height there. That's there. And then the back of the bed is in a kind of high curve, and you see it coming up like that, up and across. And the front of the post comes in about there. And across this part here, we have the pillows. He's quite a neat person, Van Gogh. You know, his bed's nice and neatly made. The pillows are plumped up and lying just nice and neatly there. The other bedpost comes in about here. And then the sheet comes across about here and curls down and is tucked underneath. The top part of the bed comes up like this. We've got this angle coming down here like this, and in the bottom part of the bed, but as it comes up to the back of the bed, this line curves up like that, and we have the back bedpost coming in, one there, like that, straight down to it there. Another one coming in there, like that. And the back of the bed here is as curved as that, but a lot larger. So you get that great big curve coming in there like that. Just double that up slightly, and you get the sense of the thickness of the wood by another line here. And of course, there are planks coming down here, so we just kind of rough them in at the second. And the other bedpost at the back comes in like this, and the top of it will appear coming down like that, and the back of the bottom of the bed comes in a bit there with the post going across there. Okay, and I'm going to fill it in later. No, at the back, let's go back up to the back, behind the front of the bed now, this part here anyway I should say, we have a kind of clothes hanger on the wall. It's just a piece of wood, obviously, it's been attached. Now there are hooks on it, and hanging from this one here, we have what looks like a Van Gogh jacket. It comes out and hangs down like that, with the sleeve appearing like that. And the bit of wood comes across like that. And the next thing we have here is another piece of clothing. We're not quite sure what it is. And then it carries on to another bit of clothing here, carrying down. And then right at the end we have, which is obviously Van Gogh's hat. And it comes up like that at the top. Like that. And above that there is a painting. Again, hanging from a nail. It's about that width there, with a frame around it. And it's of a kind of wind-blown tree. It's a bit like a Japanese type tree that he used to draw in the landscape in a field with some dark clouds above it. But again, it's held up by a nail. Now we have the other corner of the room coming in here. And on this wall, it kind of flattens the perspective. So in fact, instead of having the paintings coming down at a proper angle, they're kind of slightly skewed, as if they're almost flat. And there's one here, and this version, as I say, he did 3 versions. This one is kind of like a self-portrait. And he has, so you have very kind of these sad-looking eyes there, a sharp nose, little mouth, coming down to your chin, back and then his kind of shorn red hair coming in like that. And a kind of collarless shirt with a button on it, and his shoulder there. And there's another painting here, which is of a woman's head. It's not any particular woman, just a kind of generalized, it's a slight angle, so you get kind of eyebrows coming in there. And she's looking down, so you get her eyelids like that, and a small nose, and little mouth. the forehead, coming up like that, and then her hair coming in like that, or a collar and a shoulder. And down here there's another painting, just a kind of general bit of a rough approximation of a painting really that he put in, nothing particular. And then down here as well there's another one, again at that angle there. And just to the edge of the door we have, or rather at the edge of the bed we have another door which comes in here with one panel, and then we have another middle panel there, and another one coming down here, and you get the kind of angle of the room appearing in about there, the same as that one appearing coming across here. Okay, now on the floor, to give you a sense of perspective, you have, again, he did it very roughly, but there are kind of floorboards. You can imagine this coming in at an angle that's splaying out like that. And sometimes what you do is you see, coming out that angle there, sometimes you see the kind of end of the floorboard like that, where it starts on another one. You get that kind of feeling. But as I say, he does that fairly roughly. Okay, now this is all roughed out, you know, with my pen. And what I'm going to do now is just go over it all again and try and kind of imitate the tones of the colours that he uses. For instance, this frame is very, very dark, almost black. This is kind of darkish. The floor is kind of darkish, coming toward light and so on. So I'll have a wee go at that and let's see how it looks. Okay, as you can see, I've gone over all those lines again and just toughened them up, you know, gone over them and made them a bit more bold. And what I'm going to do now is trying to imitate Van Gogh's brush strokes in the way that they handle the paint and get the expression into the painting. For instance, in the windows here, he did some downward brush strokes, which I'll just kind of represent by doing these kind of light lines with my pen. And I'm going to do that all over the drawing, just to give a sense of the quality of the brush strokes. You get some lines in this mirror here, like that, you know. And also, for instance, on the bed, this is a darker part of the cover here, so instead of just shading it in, I'll try and just shade it going the way that the actual coverlet is going, like going over the end of the bed here and tucked in, you know. I'll keep on doing that, and then for instance on the wood, you'll get the idea of the wood grain going across with his brush stroke. So just do lots of short ones like this all across to get a texture to it. The central ones, of course, the central planks can be put in a bit more heavily like that. But you know, and with this one here, bring up your line to kind of follow the line of the top of the bed there, like that. Okay, so I'm going to work on that and just see how that brings it out a bit. Okay, as you can see, I've been working on things like the texture of the bed and finished the coverlet here, working along the wood grain here as it curls up, making these a bit darker, doing some more shading on the jacket here and up here, some shading in the folds of the towel hanging on the door. And if I move down now to the floor, to try and get some texture on that, I'll try and follow the floorboards, the angles like that. I'll broaden these up a bit, make it a bit bolder. But basically what Van Gogh did, he used his brush strokes to follow these lines. So I'll try and do that with the pen. It's darker up here and slightly under the bed. For instance, this part here, the paint is slightly darker, so if you put your pen strokes a lot closer together and a bit more, put more weight on them, you get that slightly shaded quality. And following the lines coming under here, you know, again, a wee bit more weight on the actual cracks of the floorboard, but then put a bit more shading under the bed itself, like that, as you come along here. But as you come down here, you just get a bit more faint, you know, until your kind of pen strokes disappear entirely. Okay, so I'm going to work on that, get some more darkness in here at the top, but still, as I said, trying to follow the lines of the floorboards coming out. So it's nice and dark coming in there, right across here, right to there, but getting lighter as we come down. Okay, I'm just finishing off these bits of shading on the floor now. See, it's darker at the top and getting lighter as it comes down. Okay, and I'm trying to give an approximation of the way that Van Gogh uses brush strokes, but just by using a pen. So it's a pen sketch for you of Van Gogh's bedroom in Arles. And he tried to create a nice, calm, relaxed atmosphere when he painted these things. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that. And I hope you can join me again for another tutorial very soon. But in the meantime, of course, all the best and happy drawing!